to call it. We've certainly got a quorum here, so we can go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Town Center Committee on June 24th, Friday, June 24th at 12 noon in the Town Hall, in the Matthew Thornton Room at Town Hall. The first thing I need to have is a minute taker, and I don't know if you want to do it again, Michael, but if you do, it was very well done. They were very well done minutes, and I'm glad everybody's been distributed those minutes, and we'll vote on them in a minute. Then the next thing would be the approval of those minutes. So the first thing on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the last meeting, which were distributed to you, and they are that was the meeting of May 13th. Do I have any suggestions as to how we would like to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
A second by Wilkes, okay. Any discussion of the minutes of, come on in, Finley, we've got a place for you somewhere here. Any discussion of the minute? We're just doing the minutes of May 13th. I started a moment early, so here's okay. Nicholas. Question. The question is, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of May 13th. Any discussion? And we're ready for a vote? All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Aye. Everyone, no one opposed or no one abstaining, so all are in favor. And we've had Finley and Nicholas. Okay, the next order of business today is our discussion with the National Regional Planning Commission. Camille Pattison is here with us, along with Ryan Friedman, and they are the authors of the original map that we had. No, not the original. He doesn't want any part of that. But anyway, they have taken upon themselves to update that map for us, based on discussions that I had with Camille, telling her where I remembered things we changed. We're going to have a look at it. We'll spread it out here and give everybody a chance to see it up close, and we'll let them present their map. Do you want the names of everyone here? I don't think you can see their names, but are you okay with, or shall I introduce everyone?
I think that's fine.
You're fine. Okay.
I would suggest, though, everyone's gonna have to come around the table to really see the map.
I know. Yeah.
Just so you can.
If someone has a negative comment, I'll take their name.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
All right, so do you guys wanna come down and take a look?
Yeah, I think that's the best. Yeah. Where did I put the extra? Here.
Just since it says it.
Introduce it a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is an updated version of the same exact map that originally said 2009 up here. So lucky for everyone, and definitely including me, I was able to find the original file. All the GIS data was still intact, so all I had to do really is make some updates to reflect what Camille and Nelson talked about, and then made a couple of other cosmetic changes to make the map a little easier to understand. So for instance, on the old map, there was about 4 or 5 different things that were all numbered, and I thought that was very confusing. So for instance, these large areas of interest here in the red squares, those used to be numbers. Those are now letters. So these correspond to these kind of major initiatives or different projects that are described in more detail on the left. And then the other big one are these green ovals with the numbers that correspond to desired or possible sidewalk area projects improvements. These used to be numbered with kind of by priority, but we were told to hold off on that now, so they're just kind of a 1 through 9 numbering system, and we don't have anything else on the map right now that kind of refers what 5 and 6 are and what 1 and 2 are, so that's something you can think about. But otherwise, it's mostly the same map as you've been working with for almost 15 years now. You know, some of the things, Nelson, that you and Camille had marked up is sidewalks that were showing up red because they were in need, and now they were completed, so now those are lit up yellow to say that they're existing.
This one,
yep.
I think this one, and I think there was a section in here too.
Yep. So pieces of trails and sidewalks changed from one category to another depending on whether they're completed or not. Cleaned up a few things, but mostly it's, you know, all these call-outs are kind of still calling out the same thing they have been. There's a couple outstanding questions I think we had for you to interpret some of those changes, but otherwise this is what we landed on.
And this on the side is definitely different. You know, some of the initiatives have definitely changed. So I'll go through what we had here. We had the school master plan. I understand that that's, you know, in development, so I just basically said it was in the process. But we have identified, you know, this section you guys would like to see. So we've just said, you know, if it could be incorporated as part of the school improvements, great. I don't know if that's realistic or not, so, you know, weigh in. We identified the Wire Road, DW Highway, Babusick, Brook improvements. I actually went in the 10-year plan that we have that identifies the transportation projects, and I took out the summary that was there. Kyle, you might want to glance through these summaries and make sure that they seem accurate, but that's where I got it from. So we identified that one. Daniel Webster Highway and the Turnpike widening at Babusick Lake Road. So that is this section here, and the hopes that when DOT does this improvement, they may be able to address some of the sidewalk improvements, you know, to the east. We don't know to what extent they would do, so leaving it a little bit vague is probably the best. The TAP grant sidewalks, if I'm understanding this correctly, this was a little bit tricky. Ryan tried his best to include this section into the TAP grant sidewalks that go south. So it's 3,600 linear feet of sidewalk along DW, and I said in the vicinity of Railroad Ave, so if we need to fix it, we can, in the vicinity, meaning here, all the way down to, I said the 360 Plaza, is that correct?
That's exactly
Okay,
right.
perfect, good, we got that right. So these are a little bit ugly, they're not nice ellipses, but they're what we could do. And then the Church Street intersection closure, that was, I just said in here, what did I say? I phrase it as posing safety concerns, you know, with the steep grade coming down to DW Highway. So just proposing that, you know, you might want to close that, and then there would still be enough access in the existing roadway and parking lots. You know, if that's controversial, want to take it off, we can take it off. If you want to put it out there, we can leave it on. And then we did the TAP grant pedestrian trail. This one I was not entirely sure. It said only 700 feet, which isn't very long. And I said it was connecting DW to the Sahegan River Trail, and I don't know if I got that accurately or not. Is that wrong? Is that true?
So it goes from, it connects Watson Park.
So is it this section?
No, it's on the fire station side.
Yeah, okay, so it is the fire station side, so.
Yeah, which is here.
So
So
it is kind
it
of
goes
this.
onto this existing sidewalk, comes underneath the bridge, through the sluiceway in here.
Okay.
and This is where it stops.
Oh.
There's
so it is
existing
this.
trail system here.
Got it. I guess that's actually right, we can maybe just move
Yeah.
it slightly over.
Yep.
Move it a little bit that way. This little section here, we had.
concept plan
That would be perfect. We still had this as a desired rail connection or trail connection here, and then we said this one was conceptual. And I don't know if that's still consistent. I don't know if you want to call out this little section separately. It's kind of strange.
Over the longer property,
No, up to.
No.
or up to?
So I mean, this whole thing, it maybe made more sense for this whole thing to be conceptual to here, if the new addition is this section. Something to think about.
Is that along Babusick Brook? Is that?
No.
What is it?
It's-
That's
No,
along the,
Sahegan.
along the Sahegan.
And then Babusick Brook
Oh,
here, yeah.
okay,
So we
yeah.
have the orange from this point on as being conceptual.
Yeah.
This part is desired, and this part as funding was available. Funding secured
Yeah.
for this. But we have it shown as funding secured for this whole thing.
We'll just change this part to existing,
It
because we
was
have
just
another symbol for that.
existing, yeah. I
So
think.
it's all, this is all existing?
From
No.
whatever short thing here he said, I thought.
Kyle, is
Yes.
this existing,
Yeah.
this whole thing's existing,
Yeah.
okay. Great, so we can just make a mark on that. Perfect, so that's easier. And that is the Sahegan River Trail, right, this whole thing?
The new
Yes.
part we're building is called the Sidewalk and River Trail Project. I
Okay,
don't know if those trails have a name.
okay, got it, so we could,
Nelson's saying yes, so maybe.
I would call it all part of this, we've been calling it the Sahegan River Trail going to the Wildcat Falls.
oh,
So,
okay, so it is this then,
Yeah,
all right,
The original intent of the TAP project was to go all the way to that bridge.
okay,
But due to cost,
Yeah.
we scaled it back.
yeah, well, maybe you can add to it later.
Right.
It's always opportunity.
you do call that out somewhere as the Sahegan River
Yes,
Trail?
right here, yep.
Okay, good, because I know it's referenced in the literature and I wanted to be sure people
Okay.
could find it if they go looking for it, okay.
So then on these sections where Ryan has numbered them, the green, it's up to you guys if you want to prioritize those. You know, Nelson wanted to pitch that to the committee and see where you're at with that. I mean, there's two means for that. One, if you prioritize, it can help you work towards funding it. The downside to that, though, is if funding were to come up, or an opportunity where there's an improvement going on, and it's number 9, then people might be like, well, why would we do that? It's not the top one, and you may miss out on an opportunity. So before they were prioritized, you were starting. Now that you've made quite a bit of progress, you may not want to be limited to that prioritization. That's a choice you guys need to make. You know, your
You
town.
have a secret list.
Right, right, you could do that too. So, that's just something to think about. So right now, when Ryan started these numbering, it just simply goes 1 to 6, and then we went over here, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So it's more of a locational basis rather than a
Well,
priority.
sometimes it has changed because the Woodbury project wasn't, that was what, 4 or 5 at one time, and we kind of pulled that in.
I think it was 6, but yeah.
Yeah, you're
So,
right.
I mean, it does change depending exactly on what you're saying, that
Right.
depending on funding and other issues that might come up.
Right, safety, or does opportunities rise, and I always want to set people up for the best success, right? So by leaving it like this, I do think it allows you, especially with all the additional funding that's coming through from the federal government right now, post-COVID, you might just find opportunities that come up to fix some of these. But let me step back. Why don't you guys take a look at this and make sure that there aren't grave errors, because we don't want to, it really takes looking at it in a little bit of depth. We can leave it with you and you can look at it later. I'm just cognizant too of the fact that, you want this for next week.
Yeah.
And Ryan, like, this is the larger map, and then the smaller map has to be redone based on these comments. So time is somewhat of the essence.
Yeah, the map on the back of the brochure is a different product using, it doesn't match exactly everything that's on here, but the data is the same, so as long as I can change one thing, I can drag it onto another map.
Right.
And so it shouldn't be, as long as I can find it, because it's another old map, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Okay.
We were lucky to be able to find these because they're pretty, they're done a long time ago. And in a format that we could still,
Yeah.
which was great. We were pretty excited about that. So, so do you want to take a few minutes now and just take a look and, mark it up? I mean, it's free to mark up.
I'm okay. I want the committee to have a look, and I wanted everybody to at least be reasonably comfortable. We're gonna put this up on the 4th of July at the breakfast. And it'll be on an easel, and it'll be there, along with the handouts. If we can get small copies, we'll make ones like this with that map on it. And then we would hand those out, and hopefully it'll be good for a few years till we get some money to implement some of these things. I'm sorry I didn't introduce you.
That's okay.
Barbara.
I know most everyone here.
Well, okay. I'll be sure to do that when we
That's fine.
reconvene.
That's fine.
I think maybe you should read the numbers off of these since they are not prioritization. It just has it denoted in the legend that it's sidewalk projects.
Are there numbers on? Oh, there are
Yes,
numbers.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Two,
just,
3, 4,
Do we
5,
really
6.
need numbers? That's what I
That's-
was wondering.
Right, and that's what I was saying. It might be since there's no, I don't want, you don't want people thinking there's a
Priorities yet.
priority
Yeah.
particular.
yeah.
But just have it, because in the legend it'll be delineated that it's a sidewalk
It
project.
might pique, it might pique people's
Yeah, so
interest.
instead of numbers, we would put
Okay,
the,
I missed your point then. What did you want?
But if they eliminate these numbers, probably, that way nobody would assume that
That is
that there's a priority
Yeah.
Number
list.
1 is
Yeah.
first.
and we can use this line as the legend.
Right, in the legend, it's
Yeah.
probably there. Yeah, and just get rid of the numbers, that's what I'm
So
thinking.
we can just say,
Okay.
place.
Dotted green
Must be green.
dots or whatever.
that dash line a different color.
Repairs anyhow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Stand it out.
Yeah, well, I was
Something
scared
that's
that.
not, like maybe I'll,
Were you watching?
Do we
Yeah,
really
I was
need the
thinking-
dash line then too? Or, I mean, if we're not numbering it, or?
I think that we wanna identify,
That was really,
we wanna identify the area, right? Cause there's some future pedestrian improvement areas.
Okay.
The question is,
If the sidewalk is blue, that's the one that's needed, right? Maybe make them blue? Or,
This is,
the blue is where we need sidewalk, right?
yeah, yeah,
Make these blue then?
yeah, make it a
You think
blue
that was
color.
So we're.
Something that's not on the map as far as blue goes, a different blue. We could also do pink. Pink would stand out tremendously.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, sir.
no, this isn't a question for you necessarily, but
Affirm the.
didn't they get approved to tear this down?
I don't know.
Okay.
well, since then.
Yeah, that was the discussion that
I
Matt
wonder if
had
we should
shared
get
with
rid
us
of that.
last time, is that
Yeah,
with the
I think
master
we-
plan,
yes.
they would remove those buildings.
Wasn't that approved to be torn down? Was that
They've got
going,
$1 or something like that in the budget, so. they
do we
could-
wanna leave that there?
Leave it there for now, it's physically there
Yeah,
already
so-
now, so.
In the park.
Yeah, this was done,
So we can shade those
this
differently.
was done.
Kyle's suggestion, is to mark on here the improvements that have been made,
Yeah.
like in the last decade, so you can kind of show progress. So if we mark those, Ryan can figure out.
A different color
color.
maybe,
Yeah.
or something, yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be it. We did the TE project here in front of Lobster Boat up to Buckley's.
This is done.
We did Woodbury, Woodbury did this one.
Yeah, Kyle, do you have a highlighter on? I thought I had one.
So, you want me to- is this red?
Yeah, you can use red.
Alright, the red ones.
So I circled some.
If
Let
you
me
can
just,
see 'em.
let me do this one a little differently, this will be my mess over here.
There you go. Yeah.
Usually I bring a highlighter.
Scribbling all
Yeah,
over.
so I
It's
think
all
it,
right.
so I think it's those three, and this one's gonna construct next year.
Okay.
Theoretically.
Does someone just want to take a quick glance at those descriptions, and make sure that people are comfortable with them, if they make sense? I tried to be as accurate as possible, but, you know, allow a little bit of flexibility. The descriptions in the 10-year plan are pretty limited. They're like one small sentence, so I tried to build off a little bit.
Is it possible, I know time's tight, to have this sent to us? Give us Monday to review it, get comments back to Nelson, and then have just Nelson compile whatever he thinks is appropriate, and get that back to you guys? Yes.
Can do that?
Yeah.
I know I'd be a
Works for
lot
me.
better at reviewing this,
Well,
you know, being able to look at it.
Yes,
and
me sending
digest
it to you is very possible.
Yeah.
What happens after that?
Right,
We'll
right,
see.
right.
But,
Okay.
if,
You know-
if comments are gotten back to me timely and it's a short
Well, you
list,
can
yes.
redo
Right.
these comments now, send
Yep.
us out a
Yep.
second draft.
Yes.
And so, if you don't hear from anybody, then we'll just print the second draft.
Like Camille mentioned, if you wanted different pictures, that's a possibility as well.
I'd be happy, those pictures are illustrative and
I
they're
think it looks
good.
good.
I think you've done great. With the information I gave you, you've done a tremendous
Good,
job.
we tried.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate any changes, but it's hard to, this is a hard
Yeah.
format
Yep.
Yeah.
to review and.
No
You know,
problem.
and I took the photos yesterday in between the rain, so they're current, we know that. I went out, I'm like, you're kidding, it's raining, I'm like, oh. Okay, so what do you have on there?
So the green, like
I
dotted
was- I
green,
was following.
kinda runs into the trees and everything, so I think.
Uh,
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of the numbers and we're just gonna use the dash line.
Okay.
And so we wanted that to stand out, so maybe a pink or a magenta
Yeah,
or.
yeah, magenta might work
or,
well.
yeah, something that,
Is the other
contrasts with the other kind of natural colors.
Okay. So one thing that is interesting that Ryan and I were noting, so there's blue is sidewalk recommended in the master plan, right? So you've got the blue sections. And then the red was sidewalk that was identified, I believe, back in 2009. So is that something you still want to keep them distinct? It's fine with us.
As ones we want.
Yeah.
In that area,
I guess if you're reading the legend literally, you're left to assume that the red ones are something you need, but they're not identified in the master plan.
Right. That's how I would interpret it.
Oh,
But I mean, we could just say sidewalks needed and turn them all red,
Yeah,
you know?
I wouldn't try and differentiate.
You want them separate, the master plan versus,
Oh, I don't know, whatever Nelson thinks, I agree with Nelson.
Nelson, would you like them separated?
I mean, I like them in red because they stand out, so,
They do
you know, you
stand
can
out
easily
more.
say, and here are the sidewalks we
Yeah.
wanna accomplish, you
Yeah.
know, within a certain period of time.
I like that.
Okay.
It's on the master plan, it could easily be soon.
Good.
It's coming up, that's coming up.
So why don't we just make this all red? That make sense to you?
I think so, because the Bausa desired sidewalks in the committee as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So will you get rid of sidewalk need altogether? If they're both
No,
gonna be red?
that's
will
what we'll
stay, the
do,
other
that
one
will
will-
stay, and this one, we'll take this
The
out.
blue is master.
Or we can call it sidewalk recommended, that might be the better way to put it.
Okay, great.
Recommended doesn't sound real strong.
Well, we could do sidewalk needed. We'll go back to needed.
Needed, yeah, needed is good.
Or sidewalk planned. We're not putting a time horizon in there.
Or future site. Less letters.
All right, so Ryan, you have time to go back this afternoon, make a few changes and send the draft out? Or we're just gonna send this draft out? Might be easier.
Probably send the draft out.
Okay.
And
So-
assume that I am making all these changes while you guys are reviewing the rest of it.
Yeah, and I would just say, we get those comments back to Nelson, you know, even by like Sunday, then Nelson can turn them around to us on Monday.
Yeah, how can you send them to me? If you send me this electronically, would that work for people? It's okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, if everybody can work that way, that's the way it has to be. 'Cause we'll never
For time, yeah.
get another group like this together again.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you have, something like in Adobe, you could mark something up, or you could just, you know.
Writing like a statement.
Exactly, just send a statement and an email to Nelson, and Nelson can just compile them and send them to us, and we
That's
can
what
figure
it'll
it
have to
out.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I can't work graphics
Yeah.
on my computer system.
I think that'll work.
Yeah.
We can do that. All right, and then Ryan will work on the smaller version too, once we have this done.
Does someone
Yeah.
does someone have a copy of the brochure actually?
Yes.
Because like I said, it doesn't include everything that this map does, so I just wanna make sure that there's nothing on here
Let me
that.
get it. I'll get you a fresh copy. I've written on this one.
That's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay. Let me take a
Like
look.
there's,
So this one had the numbered sidewalks before, when
so
they're based on priorities.
this map doesn't have the red squares and corresponding callouts at all,
Right.
so those aren't part of this.
But we could just identify proposed sidewalks, we'll just take off the number.
Yeah, the rest of it's pretty,
Yeah,
these will go away. These will change to whatever numbers would be ovals.
Yep.
Or no numbers, just ovals.
just ovals. Yep,
And then the blue and red sidewalks will combine to red. We'll fix all the colors so that they represent what's current and what's not.
and like these ones are done.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we can do that, that's totally doable.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you show the pedestrian bridge here?
Yeah, do you have a picture of that?
I can send you one.
Yeah, send us one.
Yep.
We could stick it in there, cause,
And you can put closed on it if you want. Parentheses, because it is closed due
Yeah.
to structural deficiencies.
okay.
Which bridge is it?
The pedestrian
I don't
bridge
think we have
adjacent to the
existing service
turnpike,
road, do we?
up by West Chamberlain Road.
Oh,
That
it's
call,
on
so
there
that
too.
call out does say that, we just
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have the,
But a picture would be good.
I guess we just don't have a line
Yeah.
representing the trail part of it.
Yeah.
We could say closed, we can put something on there.
Yep.
Because that's a priority of the committee as well, is getting that replaced.
So we do call this, the picture, existing service road, do you still want that picture?
What is it?
Existing service road, it must be just with the schools,
That's for the school.
We can leave it.
Takes it down to the field.
and then we have Wildcat Falls, like, do you still wanna keep these?
Yeah.
Or we take them off of here?
They're off the map. The Wildcat Falls is really off this map.
Alright, so let's take this one off.
And,
The service road must have been important at the time.
I don't know that it would require a picture, but it's fine with me either way, but.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a reason back in the day, okay, you wanna keep this one?
No.
No, okay, well, we'll leave this one.
Here, do we wanna
Got some
say
things.
town center committee? pedestrian trail master plan? Or do we wanna just have Merrimack?
Merrimack Town Center,
Do we wanna
pedestrian.
endorse the committee at all in that?
I leave the committee out.
Yeah, it's, the whole town is really
Makes it
behind
more-
this. We've got the council working with us and, yeah, we need to highlight the committees. Yeah.
We're the advisory board to the town council, which represents obviously
Yeah.
Merrimack, so I think just town center.
Yeah.
The emphasis should be on pedestrian trail, so.
All right, well, we will send the map this afternoon, we'll send it to Nelson. Ryan will send it to Nelson.
Yep.
And then we'll let Nelson send that to everyone else.
I can send it to everyone.
Yeah, we can send it to Kyle too, Kyle's email.
I can send it to
Kyle's on
anyone
my
you wanna send it to.
distribution.
Okay, so fine, you'll get it that way then, great. All right,
Kyle's on our committee now, you know.
that's what I heard.
It's got a pen and everything.
All right, and then if you guys can work on getting these comments back to Nelson so we get them Monday, that gives Ryan enough time, you know, to make these edits, next week, so that, because you still have to print these brochures, right?
The brochure takes no time to print once you get the master.
Okay,
The council offices help us. The
All right.
Council, Becky Thompson, who is the administrative assistant, I guess, to the council, she turns this stuff around. She can do all that sort of thing. She
Okay.
can't change the map, but she can.
yeah, send it out,
She
great.
get the stuff out for us. And we'll make a bunch of copies to have handouts at the 4th of July.
Right, and then
Yeah.
we have some foam core, so we can you know, attach this to the foam core, and then do you wanna pick it up, Nelson, one day next week?
I'll do that. If you're ready, I'll come get it.
Yeah, I'm at a conference next week, so Wednesday, Thursday in Rhode Island, but you'll be here. Okay.
I will.
You can coordinate with
Yeah.
Ryan, cause yeah, I'll be out Wednesday, Thursday, well, I'll be in Rhode Island.
Yeah,
But we'll
Okay.
should have it.
I'll come and get it whenever it's ready.
Okay,
And we just need one of these, and actually just one master of the handout, and I can get those reproduced in the council office.
So the handout, we didn't make the handout, so
No.
we're gonna pass along the map as an image to you, and you'll have
Just give me
to
the-
give it to
Yeah.
whoever made the publisher document or
Right,
whatever it
yeah.
is, and
we
yeah.
can plop it in,
Okay.
right?
Anybody want to make any comments or want to add anything to this?
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's a fun project. It was actually, we enjoyed kind of bringing this back to,
Oh, Camille was
That's a lot.
involved in the original map making.
I left for a while and came back, but I was involved in the original one.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day. Thank you very much.
So if I could just get the timeline again, to get the comments.
Yeah, we need the comments by Monday, and then, Ryan will make the changes to the map, and the small handout map, so the large map and small map, I guess. Yeah. We'll get the new listed.
Yes.
And then we will also mount this on foam core, so you have something, you know, nice and sturdy for the board. All right, great, thank you.
Thank you, Camille.
Thanks,
Ron.
Yeah. Okay, that was very productive and hopeful for having the map in time for the 4th of July celebration at the high school. The one thing I omitted doing when I opened the meeting, I failed to acknowledge Barbara Michael, who is here as a citizen, just curious to see what. I'm delighted to hear that. I didn't know anybody ever watched it. Yeah. She said she watched it on TV. The microphones probably didn't pick up what you said. That's why I repeated it here. But thank you for coming, Barbara, and you're welcome to all of our meetings. And we'll be scheduling the next one probably later in the summer. So, continuing with our agenda then, we had with the old business is the status of the Sahegan River Trail. And that was, well, that's really Kyle's update, but we've got some very good news about that as far as approvals from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services and DES, and they've approved the design as it's been revised, or the approach to the design, I should say. So Kyle, take over there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nelson. Yeah, so there's been a lot of activity on this project recently. Back on May 26th, I presented an opportunity to the town council for accelerating the project.
Mhm.
And the reason DOT was offering to have us accelerate the project is due to the requirement from DES to build a boardwalk. The project became more expensive than we had budget for, and the state had been looking for the town to cover that gap. Now, like our project, many TAP projects from other communities are having difficulty getting out to bid as well due to the permitting process. We're not alone in that challenge. So there's other projects that were scheduled for this fiscal year, which, when I say that, it's federal fiscal year, which runs October 1st to September 30. So there's projects in the DOT pipeline that are not going to be able to go out to bid this year. And so ours being close to the end of the pipeline, they made the offer that if we accelerated the project and got it advertised this fiscal year, that they would contribute the 80% of the extra cost of the project. And the council did approve that at the May 26th meeting.
That's great.
So we're full speed ahead.
Mhm.
Last week, we got notice that the wetland application, which was the last big permitting piece, did get approved by DES. So we're now in a 30-day appeal period that somebody could appeal the permit approval. Once we get through that 30-day period, if nobody appeals, we're good to go. The last piece to complete in the wetland permit is for the town to pay the fee for the wetland mitigation, which is $23,000 and change that we'll be paying to the Aquatics Resource Mitigation Fund. And we've been in communication with the Conservation Commission to look for a project that they want to do and submit it to that group up at DES to recapture that money back in town. And that money is 80-20, just like the rest of the project. So even though we're paying the 80%, paying the full amount, the state will reimburse us at 80% of that
All
money.
right.
Just as we've had to do that on other projects
Yeah.
in the past
Yeah.
as well. So the remaining items on the project are completing the final design. That's what
Yeah.
Quantum is working on right now.
Okay.
We need to get the right-of-way certificate approved, which just shows that the town has ownership or easement for all of the land that the trail is going to go on, and that should be easy to accomplish. That's a DOT approval. And just some other little things, but the hurdles are mostly gone at this point.
Yeah.
And we do anticipate being able to advertise the project in August or September of this year, which is the deadline we have to meet
Yeah.
to secure the federal funds.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we're set to go, and we could receive bids on the project as early as October, November of this year,
Awesome.
and maybe start construction over the winter, but certainly
Yeah.
for next year.
Yeah.
It's the type of project that they could do some winter work, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which they might like.
Yeah,
Fill some
definitely.
voids, right?
Yeah. Although, all contractors are pretty busy right now,
Yeah.
and, with the mild winters we've had, many contractors work year-round anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it would be a great opportunity force somebody to pick up a job.
Good.
So
Great.
we're hopeful.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent news. When I got that letter from DES, I was just over the moon
Yeah.
to see, because I could see another, in so many months, trying to get those things approved and get them to
Yep.
move on it, and they just went and did-
Historic,
Yeah.
wildlife,
Yes, yeah,
all of those permitting challenges
yeah.
that we've gone through.
Got 'em
It's,
all.
We're finally there.
Finally there.
That's great.
Knock on wood, pending the
Yeah.
30-day appeal period.
Yeah. Well, Michael.
Just asking for Kyle, if you could just review for me again the acceleration concept and this 80% payment that you talked about that DOT was picking up?
Yeah,
I just
so,
lost it.
yeah, so the project cost went up due to the need to have a boardwalk in the wetland area.
Okay,
That was the, sorry, I should have mentioned that.
okay.
It was due to the requirement of a boardwalk across the wet meadow instead of the causeway type concept as originally designed when we first submitted the wetland application. DES required the boardwalk to have less impact on the wetland. And in doing so, it raised the cost by about $200,000. And they looked to the town to pick up that cost, because at that point it was a non-participating cost to the DOT. By accelerating the project and using funds that otherwise would lapse with DOT, they agreed if we could meet that schedule, that they would cover 80% of that increase, because the project as a whole is a 80% federal, 20% town project.
Okay, and so by accelerating it, we are bidding it early? Is that what that means, or?
The key was getting it advertised by September 30. Getting it advertised for bid.
Okay. Good. Any questions for Kyle on any of this? This is really great news. This is real progress. Yeah, yeah,
Overnight,
right. Yes,
for all those years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this project started in 2014.
yeah.
And the Kyle had pointed out to the council that, oh, thank you very much. I think I was new at this. Kyle at our meeting had pointed out that the actual cost, there were a couple of projects that we had to get accomplished regardless. By doing this project as a whole, we're paying our 20%, but some of that would have come out of our own pocket without the grant. And so it's the actual out-of-pocket cost is substantially lower.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Finley. I'll just touch on that.
Yeah, because I can't
since you
remember the
brought it
numbers
up.
precisely.
Yeah, so there's a lot of components to this project, and you talk about the working through the winter. Some of this stuff applies to it. First is the existing sidewalk on Webster Highway. You all probably noticed the steel traffic plates that have been there
A while.
a long
Yeah.
time now. Those are there because the sidewalk, which is a cantilever sidewalk, there's no ground underneath it, had worn out. There were holes in it. So we put the traffic plates down, and now the traffic plates are getting sort of thin as well. But one component of this project is it's going to replace that sidewalk. So it's more than just the river trail. Additionally, the bridge itself, which is a 2-arch bridge,
Yeah.
and we're going through the smaller arch for the trail. There's a beam. There's a system of beams that holds up that sidewalk, but there's one beam in particular on the south end, north end of the bridge, south end of the sidewalk area that we're going to fix, that holds up the fascia of the bridge, the granite facing, because that side of the bridge is actually a concrete arch, unlike most of the bridge is a granite arch.
Yeah.
That beam needs repair. There's spalled concrete. You can see some rebar. So that's also getting repaired in this project
Yeah.
that we would have to do anyway just to support the bridge. So there's two really pretty big components that are part of the overall cost, which is now staggeringly up to about 1.7 million.
Yeah.
Um, so the town's getting more than just the river trail.
They would have
Out
been
of this
carved out
project.
and had to be done
Yeah,
regardless.
Yeah.
and that was the, not the bridge part, because we didn't know about it at the time, but when we originally applied for this grant, the way it came about, it was probably a conversation with Nelson and I, was the town had in our CIP money to fix the cantilever sidewalk. And that was our only focus, and I think we had $50,000 at the time, or
Something.
whatever it was. And that amount of money would have covered the 20% town share cost to do that and the river trail at the time. We
At
were
the time.
naive.
At the time, right. Yeah.
So that's really how the river trail project started. It was, since we're spending this amount of money anyway,
Anyway, yeah,
let's accomplish two things at once.
yeah.
And now, 8 years later,
Here we are.
we're where we are.
Right.
And just remind me again, the kind of the start and stops for this river trail project again are?
So there's a loop. Does your mic on, Mike?
Sorry, thank you,
Microphone.
yep.
Do you want to repeat that, Mike?
Sure, so if you could just remind me on the starts and stops of the river trail project.
Sure. So there's a loop sidewalk in Watson Park, kind of goes around the ornamental trees. So it'll start on the south end of that loop sidewalk.
Okay.
It'll run parallel in a southerly direction to Daniel Webster Highway through the existing brown fence that's on the Watson Park property.
Right.
Then it'll make a right-hand turn through the smaller of the arches in the Chamberlain Bridge. And it'll go under the bridge, and then it'll follow through the old sluiceway, the historic sluiceway that's next to the fire station.
Okay.
It'll go through the old head gate, which is going to be a really cool feature. And then it'll take a left-hand turn to go across the old impoundment from when the Pennachuck Dam was there.
Okay.
That's the wet meadow where we have to put the boardwalk.
Okay.
To the treed area across that wet meadow where it ties into existing trail system.
Okay. So the distance of this is
It's about 700 feet.
700 feet. Yeah.
Great. Any further questions on this subject? Great, Carl. That's just great news, and glad to hear it. The next item on our agenda was the high school master plan, and that's, as I understand it, is still a work in progress. We did have it as a handout in the last set of minutes, I think. And as far as I know, it's going ahead, but there's still implementation of that. And Matt isn't here today, so I'll have to defer any update on that project. The TCC's Facebook project. Bill and Nick, have you got anything to report to us this week?
Well, we're up 17 followers since our last meeting,
Great.
and I had made a post. I took some photos at Twin Bridge Park that I shared to the town's Facebook page, and I shared it to ours, and that got a lot of attention between both pages, which was really good.
What were they photos of, Nick?
It was kind of an overview of what's available down at Twin Bridges Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we took photos of the playground, the trails, baseball field, and just kind of gave an overview of, who owns the park and.
Volleyball still in play down there?
Not at Twin Bridge?
What?
At
That's at
Twin.
Watson.
That's
Oh,
at
I'm in
Watson.
the wrong park. Sorry, I'm in Watson Park. Yep,
Yeah.
sorry.
But we're gonna
It is.
take, over the next couple weeks, we're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah,
We're gonna take some additional photos and post them
Yeah.
to the town center page and the town of
Yeah.
Merrimack's page
Yeah.
as well. But anything that's in the town center, we'll post to
Yeah.
the town center page, obviously.
any coordination with the historical commission? Are they, I know they're busy moving their location and
Yeah.
remodeling their building, which is the old school up in Reed's Ferry. But are they,
Justin and I actually got a tour of that facility from John Listoka from the Historical Society last month.
Yeah.
They have a show on the community channel,
Uh-huh.
and we're going to work with John on kind of a short form video about that move.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, they're doing quite a bit of work in there.
They are.
I got a little brief tour myself a month or so ago.
well, now I don't feel so special.
I didn't mean to steal anything from you, but
He is Nelson.
Well, it's true.
okay. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Bill.
But I'd like to stress, when you do see the town center committee has posted something, just share it to your personal Facebook page if you can, because that's how we'll be discovered.
Yeah.
The more things that are shared, that
Yeah.
creates engagement, and that's how people are going to discover the page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could we,
Good.
I mean, this isn't a big deal, but could we do something at the pancake breakfast, little caption of the map and so forth, and some kind of little, little blurb about what it's all about, just to put on that page?
I could reach out to John and see if they have anything that they would like to give out. Right now, what I've arranged with the pancake breakfast folks, the Rotary, Bob Best is heading it up, so I see him on a regular basis. And we're going to have a table and an easel in a chair, and as we've done before, and then these handouts will be available. We'll come to talk to that later in the agenda here, as what we're planning to do. That's the extent of the planning right now. If you think it would benefit us or wouldn't hurt us, we could invite them to participate, but I think.
Well, I'm just thinking like for the Facebook page,
Yeah.
just like,
We're at a post about
just a post.
getting the
hey,
new map, new pamphlet,
Yeah.
say hello at the
At the-
pancake breakfast on the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Something
Sure.
quick
Oh.
and simple.
Yep.
Just to get, because you have to get content in there to get people to,
Right. I even just, think, we should absolutely mention that we'll have a presence in some format on the 4th of July. It could be a
Good.
happy 4th of July post as well. And just talk
Sure.
about
Yeah,
all the different things that are happening in the town center that day. It's a
Yeah.
good idea.
good.
And with the NRCS updating this map, we should get a final PDF from them, right, once the edits are done. And that's something we could also put on as a
Yeah,
post.
absolutely.
Well, our plan is to have a map like the one she just showed us with all the updates on it, on an easel. Then to have these kind of handouts there at a card table. And that's what we had done in the past. And a chair or two for anybody who wants to sit there and answer questions.
Yeah, but with that, they'll be in a position where they can create a PDF image of one of those maps. Probably the large one would make the most sense.
Mhm.
And then if they share that with us, Nick could then just take that and grab it and put it into a Facebook post.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So once that map is finalized, because we'll be submitting changes through Sunday, and then
Yes.
we should have that map finalized by sometime Monday or Tuesday.
I would think, yes.
So then I'll plan on putting together a Facebook post for Wednesday that's kind of all encompassing about
Okay,
the 4th and this new map, or maybe I break it up between two different posts. But yeah, absolutely. All this is great ideas.
Good. Any comments or questions? No? Okay, the final piece of old business had to do with the Brook Bridge and the tie-in with Wire Road and all of that, and you did a presentation to the town council this past month on that as well. And I think they're pretty much in agreement now with combining these into one project, one super project. Anything else to report there?
Sure, yeah, I can
Yeah.
give everyone an update on that as well. Like the River Trail, good news on this project as well.
Yeah.
So the New Hampshire DOT 10-year plan has two projects right next to each other, the US 3 bridge which we've been working on for quite some time, and the Wire Road intersection safety improvement project, which had no work accomplished yet. The construction schedule for each project was the bridge was scheduled in the 10-year plan for 2025 and Wire Road for 2027. And back in 2019, through the 10-year plan GASSET process, which is the 10-year plan is it's updated every other year, and they have formal processes. Back in 2019, members from the town spoke asking to combine the two projects because of their proximity to each other. And we weren't successful at that point to accomplish that. But as we were nearing the finish of the preliminary design stage for the bridge, it became obvious to DOT that it would be silly to accomplish the two projects separately, because much of the approach work to the bridge on the south end that we would do would get torn up a couple years later in an effort to improve the Wire Road intersection.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the state approached us and asked if we would entertain combining the projects. And this was something that we jumped on. I spoke about it to the town council at the May 26th meeting, and the council approved combining the two projects. And one of the requirements, however, was that the Wire Road intersection project needed to accelerate to catch up. So the way we're going to do that is our bridge consultant, Quantum, is going to still be the prime consultant on the project, but they're hiring a sub-consultant to do the intersection work. And because it's a safety project, DOT is really being great about it. They, rather than just looking at the intersection, which is what our focus kind of was, we had kind of a narrow focus on it. They've opened it up to the corridor and identified that sidewalks from the library to Twin Bridge Road would be a good part of the project. So that's the direction we're proceeding in. So, and of course, both of those sidewalk sections are part of the town center committee, the
Yeah.
trail plan that we just looked at. So we're moving forward. We expect to hopefully sign the formal agreement with the state and the two consultants next week. There's been a couple of vacations from DOT staff the last couple of weeks. But we expect to, next week, sign the proposals and get moving. So sometime this summer, you can expect a public information meeting, stakeholders meeting to get public input on on certainly the Wire Road project. We've been through the process with the bridge side of it, so that's
Yeah.
complete. But it'll be a public information about the Wire Road safety improvement side of the project. And of course, it'll incorporate the bridge because they're kind of tied together now. And so I don't have a date for that yet, but once we get that scheduled, I'll make sure everybody knows about it.
This summer, though, you think, you said?
I anticipate it being this summer.
Will it still be a 2025 project?
That's the goal, yeah, is to still construct in 2025. Yep.
And when you
Okay.
say sidewalks from the library to Twin Bridge Road, would that be on the northbound side or the southbound side?
So likely it would be on the west side, the southbound side.
Southbound side, yeah.
On the west side of Daniel Webster, but a lot of that will be ferreted out in the design process for the Wire Road project.
Okay.
As far as what the intersection's gonna look like, there's a number of alternatives. Of course, do nothing alternative, leaving it as a stop sign, but just improving the geometry, or leaving the geometry and doing a traffic signal or a roundabout. So there's a lot of different options that they're gonna look at in the feasibility study to figure out what the best option is.
Okay.
So, that'll be happening fairly quickly.
And I think whatever the option as far as Wire Road, I think there's a desire to probably, potentially, I guess, move the MYA entrance up to the intersection of Wire and making it four-way. Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
whether it's around Rotary, which doesn't appear likely just because of size.
Right.
Of space, but that would, I think, be beneficial in the flow of
Yeah.
traffic as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for sure, and that's definitely something we're looking at in the feasibility study as we look into the project, and what we do with the old entrance, whether it's entrance in, or
Right.
enter in and exit out northbound only, or close it all together, we'll ferret those things out.
Yeah.
That'll be part of the public participation meeting. The biggest issue with it is during high traffic times, as traffic backs up from the Babusick Lake Road light, you really can't take a left out of there to go southbound, because the cars are queued up past the exit point. So that's gonna be a really big difference.
Yeah.
And something we've had in mind, really that concept predates my working here.
Yeah.
So it's something that we'll talk about. And the other big piece, kind of the gorilla in the room, is what to do with Church Street.
Right.
And we've had conversations through our Highway Safety Committee, which Finley is part of, in the past, and some talk at the town council level. And I think the last we discussed it, the town council, although they, at the time, I believe, felt that it was a worthy thing to do, they wanted to wait until the sidewalk project actually happened to have the formal discussions on it.
Yeah.
Because it would require formal action from the town council to discontinue Church Street.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up as part of the conversation as well.
Yeah, that's an important piece. And this committee did some research on that back in the day, in around 2014 or so, where we had discussions with all the landowners up there, and with the church, and with the senior center, and those people, and we had pretty much agreement that everybody had agreed at that time. Of course, it's all new players now.
Right.
But that time was to dead-end Church Street at the top of the bank there. And that's gotta be done, and that took it'll take some effort by the town council.
Yeah, and that's all part of the
You know,
process of
yeah,
figuring out, will the
yeah.
sidewalk be on the east side, the west side? If you move it to the east side to accommodate Church Street staying open, you've got that drop off at the MYA facility, that can be a challenge. You've also got
Yeah.
the challenge of, how do you get people to cross the street,
You
and
gotta
where do you get them to
back and
cross the
forth
street?
across, yeah.
Do you do it at Babusick, do you do it at Wire?
It's
It's-
it's too much for this meeting, but the slope of Church Street is crazy.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like good for tobogganing, stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and beyond the slope, it's the geometry that's also a real problem.
Yeah,
It is awkward.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then. Questions or any other comments on that? That's a good update there. Get into our new business here. We're almost out of time, but let me see, well, we talked about the NRPC, what we're gonna do there, so I think we've covered that. The town center videotaping, yeah, any progress there on the,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's quite a bit of progress. I have a video to show today.
all right.
So I'm gonna pull that up, and you'll be able to see it on your monitor in front of you.
Okay,
You saw these last night for the first time. These are wonderful.
We added we just put in the monitors on
Yeah, last night I came in, I'm going.
This is pretty cool.
Monday.
Huh?
Yeah, so
Christmas present.
it feels like that, right?
Right.
Oh,
Mouse
the- oh,
here,
the-
here, it goes right here.
So if, Nelson, with planning board meetings, you'll now have, whatever is being presented here, you'll see in front of those monitors. So you no longer have
Beautiful.
to squint in the back of the room or turn your.
Break your neck looking up like this,
yeah.
because that's too far away from me.
Hey, I couldn't read it when we were here. We couldn't read it.
Yeah, no.
You can't read that now. I can't read it.
No, my distance vision is perfect, but I
Yeah.
can't, it's too far away.
Yeah. Well,
Same
mine is
here.
less than perfect, and it's too far away.
Merrimack may
So this video, it's a combination of some new footage and then some old footage that we had. Some of these shots are placeholders, but it's sort of just an all-encompassing video on where the town center is located and some of the different attractions. This isn't a final video, but I wanted to be able to show you what we had so far, and the biggest piece is really just to listen to the narration to make sure that we have everything
Yeah.
accurate the way it should be, so.
Do you have a name for this video?
I believe it's connecting with your town center.
Connecting with your town center? Is
Yes.
that what you wanted to say? I wanted to get the name right, so we could all talk
Okay.
about the same thing.
Merrimack may seem a bit spread out compared to other New Hampshire towns and cities, but with that said, our community has an active and growing town center, and it's one you should be connected to.
Oh, this is good.
When entering from the east, around Turkey Hill or Babusick Lake Road, you'll be greeted by the new roundabout that our Department of Public Works finished up last year. Following Babusick Lake Road, you'll come to the town offices, the Merrimack Public Library, and Abbey Griffin Park, which is a frequent host location for various events throughout the year, like the Summer Concert Series. Going south from the intersection on Daniel Webster Highway, there's many local businesses along the sidewalk. In addition to Watson Park, another great place for you to have a picnic, play some volleyball, or walk the dog. North of the intersection, there's our post office and a shopping center. There's also Twin Bridge Park, which features a beloved community-driven playground, the Merrimack Youth Association, a baseball field, and trails to walk or bike at your own pace. It's a nice, tranquil spot where you can get away from the noise and enjoy nature. The town center evolves as the community grows, and you can lend a hand. Help guide this process by joining the Town Center Committee, an advisory board to the Merrimack Town Council. Thanks for watching.
Very good.
Very nice.
That was a group effort between me and our media assistant, Colin Marr. The two of us worked on
Who's
that
the voice
together.
of Merrimack?
He really has become the voice
He
of
is.
Merrimack. He's gonna love
He's got a great
hearing
voice.
that.
It works perfectly.
Yeah, yeah.
How long is it? How long is it about, Nick?
What's that?
What's the length of the video?
I think it's about 2 minutes. Yeah, just under 2 minutes. And we want to continue creating content like this. This
Yeah.
is really what the media division's turned into over
Yeah.
the course of the pandemic, especially, is we're creating more and more content for other town departments and really just keeping residents informed on what's happening in town.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to have a presence on the town center committee is because, you know, the town itself didn't have a Facebook page until last December. And I was charged with kind of jump-starting the town center committee's Facebook page. So content is king, so just continuously putting out more information like this
Okay,
to put in front of people's eyes.
yeah.
Cool.
Get the Woodbury Street sidewalk in there.
That's the next one.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, in the video.
Yeah,
You're right. That's something we need to add.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
that's one. And then, of course, this new project, when we get it going, you'll be out there every day with, watch.
Nick can watch the project for us.
You're right.
I mean, the Woodbury Center sidewalk piece
Yeah,
would integrate very nicely, like,
Yeah.
when it was completed, you know, like a video of the completed project, you know, looked really nice and looks really nice.
Yeah.
That would integrate really
Well,
nice.
We definitely need to do an update on the Woodbury sidewalk. So that should be a video in itself. But I
Yeah.
think what Nelson is suggesting is adding it to this one.
Yes, I
Right, right.
was, yeah,
Which is a great idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
One of-
came up that way, oh, I'm sorry, I came up that way to come here today, and there were two people walking down the sidewalk, and I said, ooh,
Yep, yeah, it's
That's
great to see
good to
people
see.
using
Yeah,
the sidewalks,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
they weren't kids, they were adults,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
adults, rule
Yeah.
too, right?
For sure.
Well, they
Rate.
think they
They
do.
rate, they rate.
Okay,
Just real quick,
Sure.
another piece that I think you could add in, the video from the steps the Rotary did into Abbey Griffin Park from Daniel Webster. I know you guys have footage of that as well.
Yes, we do.
yeah,
And I had a thought after Camille and Ryan left. That was a project donated by Rotary.
yes.
Should we put on the plan the little Rotary symbol next to that piece?
I'll see if
I don't know if that's appropriate or not. I don't
think
know
it
if the
would be as long
Rotary
as
would
Rotary
want
is
it on
fine.
there.
I mean, we should at least say
I
that,
mean-
we should say that we should mention their involvement 100%.
Okay,
I mean, not, if we're gonna get on that subject a little bit, the Rotary also pretty much donated the whole pavilion down at
Correct.
Watson Park.
I was gonna mention that as well.
Yeah.
That was a $44,000 project, so pretty big project for us.
which one, did they do the Abbey Griffin one, or the?
We
Watson
we
Park.
contributed to Abbey Griffin, but we weren't the,
Yeah.
that, only a small percentage of the cost of Abbey Griffin. I think we orchestrated, it wasn't all of our funds, but we orchestrated and collected all the money to do the pavilion,
The pavilion in Abbey Griffin, or the pavilion?
Watson Park.
Watson Park, yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, and I wondered that too. Do we put a little Rotary symbol down there too?
I mean, selfishly, it helps the Rotary Club, continue to sell Christmas trees and do other things. We just had as a little aside, we just had a really successful electronic recycling program.
Yeah,
It helped the town, and we made a fair amount of money that we can contribute back to the town
yeah,
with that effort. And we did it right here in the parking lot
yeah,
near the courthouse and so forth.
uh-huh,
So, I don't want to be selfish about it, but anything we do to promote the Rotary Club
I'll
kinda
see if I
helps the
can
town,
work it
too.
in, if they can come up with a little logo. I know the little logo that they
Yeah,
usually just stick it on there, even if we don't say anything.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
Gives-
thinking.
Yeah, yeah,
In those two spots in particular.
yeah, yeah.
I made a note about that, and then also, it's awesome that the Rotary has so much involvement, especially financially. Would you think it would make sense to add in the call to action at the end, which is, to become involved if you want to serve on the town center committee or participate? Do we want to have a call to action for nonprofit, or if you're a nonprofit group and would like to be involved, to get in touch?
I think it won't be harmful, I mean.
Yeah, I don't see that
Involvement's
it
there.
hurts anything, yeah,
If you're a resident or nonprofit group that would like to become involved with the town
Yeah.
center committee?
Yeah.
Something like that?
sure. Like the Rotary, for instance.
The Rotary, I have to give my plug to those guys. It's amazing the work that gets
They've
accomplished.
done a lot
by a
already
relatively small
for
group.
us, yeah,
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 it's amazing.
yeah.
I've been asked to join, I'm afraid to.
Well, it's a commitment,
I see what they do.
Yeah.
we got a big cattle whip.
I'd hate to let them down. That's why I
Yeah, yeah.
don't make eye contact when it
No,
happens.
that's right. Okay. Anything else on that? And if not, yeah, 4th of July, the plan is, as we had discussed before, we were gonna put a table and a map and the handouts at the Rotary breakfast. The breakfast goes from 8 in the morning till noon, I think. And would anybody like to be part of that as sit at our table, hand out brochures, answer questions, because people come and they see the map and they say, oh, what's that? Or I didn't know that was there. And somebody from the committee, I'll be there part of the time, but I don't know if anybody else would like to be there.
I'm likely gonna be there in the morning,
It's a
but I
good
might.
job for a politician.
What? No, that's right. I might be there with a few monkeys, and they're 8 and under, so.
It's an 8 to 11 situation, so that's probably the commitment would be like an hour or so between
Yeah.
8 and
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
It's
If
pretty
I'm
much
by
winds down
myself, I
after
would-
11.
I would definitely sit at the table. If I have the boys, it might not be
Yeah.
beneficial.
Well,
I'm just,
yeah.
because I babysit them on Fridays, so
Yeah.
that's what I
They
got
can
here
hound
from.
people and hand out the brochures.
Yeah.
And they would be helpful, but.
They can do something like that, yeah. Well, anyway, I don't want to commit to my whole 3 hours, but if anybody would like to be part of that at any time during that morning of the 4th of July, you'd be welcome to be there.
I'll come by for,
Oh, good, yeah,
I
come
wanted to
by.
go to breakfast anyway, so.
Yeah, I go to the breakfast anyway, and if you go and sit there, people come by and they'll see the map and they'll have questions. And it'd be good to have somebody who can talk to it and say, yeah, oh yeah, we got that done, or we're gonna advertise this in September. So, it helps keep people informed, and it's informative to you as a participant, because you get feedback from people. I mean, that's where we got a lot of our encouragement for what we've done, has been these booths we put up out at the Wasserman Park, different times, and people would come by, and people have no idea what we're about, or what we've been doing, or why we're doing it, and they've given us good feedback. So it's a good place to pick up some information and help the town, and so.
And that's at the high school, right?
That's at the high school, yes, yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. And, okay, the only other thing on here was at the suggestion of Michael, and he suggested that we have some discussion on the effects of the FEE Turnpike widening, which is going to affect Merrimack, and how it's going to affect us. We know it's going to require 2 bridges rebuilt, which are going to have some impact, and most of this will wind up, the impacts will wind up in the town center. The 2 bridges being Wire Road and Babusick Lake Road, and they each have some sidewalk extensions, and the widening itself will cause delays, which will probably shunt traffic onto our Route 3. So, Michael, did you want to lead this discussion, or did you have some things you wanted people to think about? And
Yeah, last month, I think we started with the introduction of just my concern, and I think several of us, shared in that concern, and I think we kicked it around, and you've done a great job, again, it's just summarizing kind of where my thoughts were and everything, so I think that's great just for the public to know that as a committee, we're kind of keeping an eye on this sort of thing. At our May meeting, Kyle had suggested that I reach out to Wendy Johnson at DOT. She's the project manager, right?
Correct.
For that. So I haven't had time to do that, but that is
yeah,
kind of an action item for me. And I
Okay.
think until I do that, probably
yeah,
doesn't make sense for us to really do anything unless someone else, comes across some information or has an idea that
Yeah.
they want to share.
See if she has any ideas of what we might do to aid and abet this process, because I'm sure they want to minimize the negative impacts on the community, but it was a few years away. We've got a little time to plan for it. If there's something we could or should be doing, I don't know if they've sequenced those bridges, or are they going to do them both at once, or they're going to do them both at once
Yeah, both bridges will be constructed at the same time.
at the same time. So both roads will be closed off at the same time.
No, Wire Road will be closed for the construction.
Yeah.
Babusick Lake Road will have a 2-lane detour bridge.
Oh, it does?
So it'll remain open
Yeah.
throughout the project.
Oh, okay. But Wire Road people will have to go around.
Yeah, either to Bedford or
Yeah.
Babusick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting just to know that. But it's a few years away, and I suppose things could change between now and then.
Yeah, it's supposed to construct, I think, in 25, 26,
Yeah.
which coincides with our bridge
Yeah,
project.
that was good. That
Um,
sounds like familiar
So
years.
we'll tear up the whole town all at once, and then everything will be great.
You can see who's the DPW guy here.
Has to get worse before it gets
Yeah.
better.
Right.
The temporary bridge for the Bausa Brook crossing is a single lane, is it not?
No, that'll be
It was gonna
2-lane
be double?
bridge. Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, that's in the final design details. And we're not at that stage yet. We haven't done easements yet and got permission from property owners to have that kind of thing, but that's the plan.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. I
Yeah,
could recall.
it's-
There's just too much traffic. There's about 16,000 vehicles per day on Daniel Webster near Wire.
Right.
Yeah, it's too bad we have to make such a huge bypass, it destroys a lot of, trees and a lot of our park, temporarily, albeit temporarily,
Yeah.
but,
Although on the south side, it's workable, I think. You're right, it might chew into the parking area, but I don't kind of think so.
Oh, it does. According to Kyle showed us a map last time, and it had a bypass road. It's a 2-lane bypass road with a temporary bridge.
Right.
And it goes, but if you go out there and look and see where it's going, it's taking out all the trees along that side of the
Right along
road,
that
which
way.
is,
Yeah, there's quite a number of trees that'll have to come
yeah,
out.
yeah.
But we'll have a planting plan to restore the area as well.
Yeah, but they cut down this big and plant this
Yeah.
big, yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's about all I have. We're about out of time, and I don't know if we want to talk about any strategy ideas for advancing our plans. I think we're doing very well here. We need to set a meeting date for the next meeting. I had put down August here temporarily. I'm gone from town the second 2 weeks of July. You can go ahead and have a meeting if you feel you'd like to have one, but,
Let's take July off.
I'll second that.
no arguments there. Let's see what we've got for calendar here. By then, we'll have some further information on all of these things.
This would be
Well,
the-
we've got August 5/12/1926. What's the, those are the Fridays. Staying with
19th?
Friday.
19 would work for me.
19, yeah. be better.
19?
It would be better for me. The 12th, I'm not around.
Okay, well,
Ditto.
that settles it.
I settled it?
Yep, you settled it.
All right.
19 July, next meeting.
August.
No,
That's
19
August.
August.
August, excuse me.
And
Excuse
I'm
me.
accepting it like,
All right.
We don't need a motion for that, do we?
No, we don't, but if everybody's in agreement, we just put it in the minutes
Yep.
that that's when it was set. for.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Do we have discussion of that motion? All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. All in favor.
So I think
Who seconded it? Was it Bill Cumming?
I did. I did.
Okay, yeah.
So I think there's just two motions, right? The minutes and then to adjourn. I think those were the only two motions. So.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.